All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about a massive, seismic shift at the top of one of the most valuable, most influential companies on the entire planet. This is the story of a truly monumental leadership change at Apple.
And really, it all comes down to this one huge question. How in the world do you replace a CEO who grew a company by over 1,000%? I mean, the stakes just could not be any higher.
So let's get to the headline news. In an official press release, Apple has announced a major leadership transition. This is it, the end of one incredible era and the official start of the next.
And here are the specifics you need to know. Starting September 1st, 2026, Tim Cook is going to transition to the role of executive chairman. And stepping right into that CEO spot will be John Ternus, who up until now has been Apple's senior VP of hardware engineering. But before we really dive into who the new leader is, you have to understand just how big of a deal this moment is. And to do that, we've got to look back at the legacy of Tim Cook. We're talking about the titan who built a $4 trillion company.
Let's just start with the numbers because, honestly, they're staggering. Look at this, $4 trillion. That's Apple's market cap. When Tim Cook took the reins back in 2011, it was sitting at around $350 billion. The level of growth is, well, it's almost hard to comprehend.
And it's not just the stock price, not by a long shot. The actual cash coming into the company has just exploded. Under Cook, Apple's yearly revenue has nearly quadrupled, skyrocketing from $108 billion all the way up to over $416 billion.
Now this number really helps you understand the sheer scale of their reach. Today, there are over 2.5 billion active Apple devices out there in the world. That ecosystem, that incredible global footprint, that was built and scaled during the Tim Cook era.
But here's the thing. He wasn't just guarding the iPhone's success. He oversaw the creation of entirely new, culture-defining product categories. I mean, think about it. The Apple Watch in 2014, AirPods in 2016, and of course, the very recent and ambitious jump into spatial computing with the Apple Vision Pro.
And his legacy, it goes so much deeper than just hardware. He's the one who turns services, things like iCloud and Apple Music, into a business that hauls in over $100 billion a year. He spearheaded that incredibly complex transition to Apple's own silicon, which gave them just immense control. And he cemented the company's core values, championing privacy as a human right and slashing Apple's carbon footprint.
Okay, so that brings us to the next chapter. Who exactly is this guy John Ternus? Let's meet Apple's next leader.
And right off the bat, you see this really fascinating difference. Tim Cook was, without a doubt, a master of operations and supply chain logistics, a true guru. John Ternus, though, he comes from a completely different world. He's a hardware engineering and product design expert. That shift in expertise at the very top, well, that could signal a huge shift in Apple's focus for the next decade.
See, Ternus is an Apple lifer. He joined the product design team way back in 2001. He's a mechanical engineer by trade, and he's been climbing the ranks ever since, eventually becoming the senior VP of hardware engineering in 2021. He is, to his very core, a product person, someone who's lived and breathed the creation of these devices.
And his fingerprints, they're all over the products you probably use every single day. He was instrumental in launching the very first iPad and AirPods. He's led engineering on countless generations of the iPhone and the Mac. He's been a key driver behind innovation in materials and durability, all the way up to the recent iPhone 17 lineup. This isn't just some manager. He's one of the key architects of Apple's modern hardware. So here's the really crucial point. This is not some sudden shakeup. Everything we're seeing points to a very planned, very confident succession. This is the torch being passed deliberately and with a lot of thought. And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. Just listen to Tim Cook himself. He said Ternus has the mind of an engineer, the soul of an innovator. He is without question the right person to lead Apple into the future. I mean, that is about as powerful an endorsement as you can possibly get. And for his part, John Ternus is showing a deep respect for the company's history. He said, "I have been lucky to have worked under Steve Jobs and to have had Tim Cook as my mentor. I am humbled to step into this role." That right there, that signals continuity, not a revolution. And this confidence, it's shared by the entire board. Apple's lead independent director, Arthur Levinson, put it plainly, "We believe John is the best possible leader to succeed Tim." And he points directly to Ternus's deep technical knowledge and his relentless focus on making great products.
So, with the full backing of the outgoing CEO and the entire board, the stage is officially set. Let's try to distill all this down and figure out what this change really signals for Apple's next chapter.
Okay, let's put it all together. Here's what you should take away from all this. First, Apple is officially entering a brand new era of leadership. Second, Tim Cook's tenure was just one of historic, unbelievable operational and financial success. Third, the new CEO, John Ternus, comes directly from the company's product engineering core, which is a really significant shift. And finally, and maybe most importantly, this is a carefully planned succession, not some sudden chaotic change.
And all of this leaves us with one final, pretty fascinating question to think about. With a true product engineer back at the helm for the first time in over a decade, could Apple's next chapter actually be its most innovative yet? I guess only time will tell.